Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to City Skylines, and welcome back to Nerdchester, where I usually remember to move the mouse cursor out of the middle of the screen for these intros, but apparently I forgot to do that today. Let's put that down in the bottom right there. And actually, just while I'm talking about that, if you go back and watch a lot of my old City Skylines stuff, including this series, anytime I do one of these little shots where we're just looking at something, I try my best. This is completely off topic. We're like 30 seconds into a video and I'm already gone. The mouse cursor is usually hidden somewhere. I usually try to blend it in with like dark and light shades of gray, but anyway, that's besides the point. We have work to do today, and I would like to get started. And the first thing I'd like to do actually does revolve around this intersection, more specifically the elevated pedestrian paths and the bicycle bridge that we have as well. I want to make this a little bit busier, and I'm kind of surprised I didn't connect this thing to this new district already. I'm slightly shocked that I kind of forgot to do that. So what we're going to do is take out all of this zoning right here. We're going to take out all of this zoning right here, and then all of these buildings just need to go away because we're going to be doing a little bit of reworking of this space, as well as going in and actually building some little bridges that connect from down here and down here up to this bridge. So first things first, we'll take this road out of here, and then we'll go in, we'll get ourselves our little park path, and it's going to run from right about there out about 10 units, and then we're going to go up about 10 meters to there. We'll do the same thing over on this side as well, just in the other direction. And then we go from here to there. We go from here to about there. And then I want to make sure that these are about the same height. So up to about there is perfect. We can use node controller to make these a little bit wider when it comes to those intersections. And then we can use move it once again to just grab this node and bring it a little bit closer to that path. We'll do the same thing up on this side as well. And just like that, we have ourselves a nice little connection here. And I absolutely love this. I'm really excited to see if people end up using it. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Also, it looks like did I forget to like drag this? I totally did. This needs to come down to like here, and this guy needs to come down to about here as well. I don't love that path around the metro station, but it works. It does what it needs to do. And oh my God, look how many people we've got going through here already. Oh, that's perfect. This is going to be so good. This is such a good connection. I've been considering changing out this bridge for just a regular pedestrian path or bridge or whatever, because if we do that, then people can walk from the other side of Nerdchester to this side. But I'm worried that they'll use their bikes a lot less. And I love the bikes. I really, really do. So I'm going to keep that for now, but let me know what you think. Should we swap that out for just a regular bridge so it kind of connects here a little bit better? I'm not sold on it, but I'm open to ideas is what I am. Anyway, what I'd like to do here is bring this road down this way. I want to bring it to, let's see, right about there. And we'll go ahead and just bring this guy over to get rid of some of those little weird sections of concrete that we have. That looks pretty good to me. Let's make sure it's nice and level as well, which it now is. Let's bring this up to about that same height as well. Does that look okay? No, actually, I want to keep that down there is what I'd like to do. And then I guess actually, hold on. While we're doing road stuff, I want to make this road a little bit thicker is what I'm thinking. Just the sidewalks a little bit thicker so the buses have some space to pull into. That's kind of important to me. And I think that's okay. I think that works. When it comes to the rest of the space, though, what we can do is just go back in with a bit of zoning like this, I think. That'll probably work out. And then we'll do a little something down here once this building actually comes together, just to make sure that we get another little 3x3. So something right there should be good. When it comes to all of this space, I think what we do is we zone some corners just to make sure that we're getting some proper corner buildings in there. We'll zone this corner as well. We can zone all of this part, which has given us one big building in the middle. I don't know if I'm going to love that. I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of curious to see what this looks like. Do I like that? I don't think I I'm not sure that I do. You know what? Take those out. Let's get rid of this bit of zoning in the middle. And I think that's all right. I also love these buildings. So you know what? This can go away. And then we're going to use the eyedropper to grab this guy. And I want to put one there. And I want to put one there. I think those look really good. I do. I think they look really, really good. We can go and maybe bring this intersection up to this height. Maybe grab both of these buildings and get them to be nice and level right about there. This intersection can go to that height, and then both of these buildings can go to that same height as well. I think they look really cool. And what's great about these buildings is I can change the style. So this art on the corner, we can change it out for something else. I do like that green and white, but I kind of love the, oh, I like the blue and yellow as well. I like the dots. I'm going to be honest. I think we make it historical, and I think we go for the, dots. It just looks really, really cool. I like that a lot. And there we go. I mean, traffic's not moving all that well, but I really like how this little space has turned out. I love how many people are using these paths. The only thing we need to do is make sure that we don't have pillars in the middle of the roads, which by the looks of it, we actually don't. Although we do have streetlights coming up through some of the paths, which I don't necessarily love, but do I care enough to fix that? Yeah, I kind of do. So I'm going to need to grab all of the nodes for this main section of this elevated walkway, and then we just need to move it up enough so that we don't have those streetlights coming up through the paths. Now, the problem with this is that this thing is, I mean, it's kind of level right there, so I'm not too sure how well this is going to work, but we'll just nudge it until we don't see the streetlights, which is about there. The streetlights are technically still sort of in the path, but as long as we don't see them, I don't think that's too much of a problem. We'll grab these guys now and just bring those up a little bit higher, which I think is fine. Over on this side, can we just get this to be a bit more of an even slope if that's going to be necessary? It is a little bit. I think I can work with that. I'm hoping that we can just have this all look okay. This is going to be the real test to see if this looks dumb now that we've made that change. I don't think it'll look too bad. I just want to make sure that we're not completely screwing things up here. So that actually looks okay. If anything, that's more level than it was. So all things considered, well, this actually, hold on a minute. I've just noticed that the pillars in the middle of, well, some of the roads have come back. So let's do a little something about that. Let's grab this pillar here and let's grab this pillar here. We'll delete those, and this looks fine. I kind of like, I love how many people are using it. So even if it's not super realistic, I'm really happy with it. And well, the traffic situation is, well, it's not good. That's actually the next thing that I want to try and fix or improve or make less bad is the way I'm going to describe my next little step here. So I'm going to move the stock exchange is what I'm going to do. It's going to temporarily live right about here. And then in this entire space, I want to go in and basically take out all of these trees because I'm going to be doing a fair bit of building in this space, and I will put a bunch of trees back in here once I finish that building, which might be, I'm a little nervous about this. I'm a little nervous about this because I'm going to be trying to do some kind of intersection here. I don't really do my own intersections. I've never done my own intersections. If you go back through some of the old all of the old City Skyline stuff that I've done, I almost never build my own highway intersections. I go to the Steam Workshop, I grab some intersections, or I just use the ones that are available here. Unfortunately, given the nature of what we're dealing with here, with the train going through the middle in this kind of weird space, it's just, I'm gonna have to build my own intersection here, and it's probably gonna be a mess, and I'm nervous about that because I feel like a fraud. And I say that only with a small bit. There's only a small part of me that's joking when I say that. And I say that because I've done so much with City Skylines over the years that building an intersection shouldn't really be a problem. And it's not a problem. I'm gonna do it. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I feel like I should be good at it, and I know I'm not. That's my problem with doing this, is I feel I should be better at this whole thing. I feel like I should have an understanding of this whole process, and I don't. And that's just, it's a weird feeling, because I know that so many Cities Skylines creators know so much about road infrastructure, and I've never been one of them. That's just never been me. So yeah, this is going to be a mess is what this is going to be, but I'm excited to see how it goes. I could potentially use the network multi-tool to create a curve that goes from here to, no, I can't. Never mind. I know I can use the network multi-tool for parts of this. I'm not sure how much of it, but basically what I want to try and do is a little section of road that goes up like this. Obviously that intersection doesn't really work, but we can use node controller to hopefully space some of this out. And I mean, looking at this could theoretically go right back to there. This could theoretically go right back to there. Obviously doesn't quite work, but in theory, I can make this work. It's a very big in theory, but in theory, I can make this work. So we'll keep this at ground level. We'll bring this guy sort of in like this. And this is where a whole lot of move it, a whole lot of node control, a whole lot of just different mods are hopefully going to come in useful here, because I really want to make this work. So this I'm okay with. This I can work with. A very gradual little thing here. We can use node controller now to make this look a bit more proper, which I think that does. We might want to use move it to grab some of these nodes and try to properly slope this whole thing, which might not really work all that well. We could lower this one down a little bit. I think that's okay. This whole situation, I feel like this should be the same height as this guy, which I think makes life just that little bit easier as well. This is going to need to be elevated, which is fine. And so that gives us a straight shot out of here, which is absolutely fantastic. When it comes to this other side of things, this is where I have no idea what I'm doing. This is going to be the real challenge, because this is going to need, I don't know what this is going to need. I don't even know what this is going to need, but it's going to need something. Now, one thing I will say with node controller is that we can actually just shift these little sections of road over so this all looks a little bit smoother than it otherwise would. I think this looks sort of okay-ish. It's sort of coming together, but again, we're going to need to sort of shift some of these roads ever so slightly to make this look a little bit more fluid than it does right now. And I think that's honestly okay. Again, we have some weirdness going on with some of these nodes here, but I'm not really thinking that's the end of the world. I'm actually thinking we can probably go through and slope that, which looks just fine as far as I'm concerned. And then a little bit of lane control fixes where people are going to be going here. We can actually make sure people are staying in their lanes in a few spots right there. We'll make sure they stay in lane to about the start of the bridge. We'll make sure that they're in lane back this way, which I think is fine. I know this looks a bit weird, but I think that's fine. I think it's okay. We can use our intersection marking tool as well to come in and just do a little bit of work with all the lines that we're missing. And again, this is going to be another example of me not knowing what should go in the middle of this space here. I actually did see a couple of comments, because I mentioned this in a previous episode. I saw a couple of comments that explained when to use chevrons and when to use stripes, and I don't know if I replied. I didn't reply to all of them, but I think I replied to one or two. And I'm gonna be honest, I've completely forgotten what the advice was, because you may or may not have noticed that I've been kind of really hooked on Software Inc. again, and so I haven't played City Skylines in about a week. And yeah, I'll look it up. I will go and find the comments that I'm talking about, and I will change. I'm not going to do it right now, but at some point in the not too distant future, I will go and make some changes to these spaces if I've done them wrong, and I will I'll get back to you on this whole situation. At the very least, I'm just going to hope that the chevrons, even if they're the wrong way around, which oh my God, what is going on in there? What is that? Oh, that looks, hold on. I can just make them smaller. That's fine. It's not great looking, but it's going to do the job is what it's going to do. It makes this whole space feel so much more fluid is how I'm going to describe it. It kind of using these intersection marking tools and using all these lines makes it feel like you're playing Cities Skylines 2. You're not. And you frequently remember that you're not, because that was like the one big thing with Cities 2 is that the roads do all of this for you. But it's it's a close feeling is what it is. Speaking of Cities Skylines 2, I don't know if I've mentioned it in a video so far. I know I mentioned at some point about the new computer that I've had on the way. The new computer is here. It is not set up yet because I've been meaning to kind of sit down for a day and pre-record a bunch of videos. So my extortionately expensive new computer is sitting in a spare bedroom right now. It's a ground floor bedroom, so the window is closed, the curtains are closed, the blinds are closed, because I don't want anyone looking in that window and seeing it sitting there. Not that you're going to know what's in that PC from a distance, but you never know, man. With my luck, I'm not chancing it. I'm not taking that chance is what I'm not doing. Anyway, what I would like to do here is figure out how I'm going to connect these roads together. Because we have this little connection down this way. We now need to go sort of up and over is basically the next step. So I'm going to go about 7 meters here, and this just needs to go. So this one is going sort of up and around is what it's doing. So we'll do a little section of road right there. And this might be where the network multi-tool comes in really useful, actually. So let's do a little bit of let's create a node right about here, I'm thinking. So right about there, we'll take this out, and then we're going to downgrade all of this to have 2 lanes right to about, I want to say there should be fine. I think there should be okay. And then we'll do a little section of road. I guess we'll use a curve for this just to see if it makes life a little easier in the long run. That is going to need to be flipped around. And then again, we can use node controller to sort of tidy this up a little bit. I think that looks okay. Bring this down a little, maybe just shift this over ever so slightly, and then a little bit of move it just to ever so slightly adjust the curve on that. And I think that looks okay. I don't know if it really does. I'm really not too sure on this. I think that's maybe a little better. And you know, just looking at this whole thing, this might work. I mean, obviously it's going to need to be elevated, but I think I'm okay with this. I think that as far as layouts go is completely fine. We can flip all of these little road sections around here. And then all we need to do is make sure that this entire thing is taller than those train tracks. So we'll make it level and then bring this up so it's just above, and I do mean just above those catenaries. So right about there. And then hopefully what we can do is slope these objects in a way that looks okay. And I think that's a little steep, but I think we can kind of work with that. I think if I was to maybe bring this up a little bit, and I do mean just a little bit, we can maybe do something about that. I think that looks all right. This side is going to be slightly trickier now because this is kind of where we need to slope down and connect to this road, and I'm not 100% sure that this is actually going to work. We might need to go out a little bit further with this road, which might just screw up everything I'm trying to do here. But basically this, oh, now hold on. Yes, it looks kind of terrible right now, but if we can adjust some of these little steps here, like make that a little bit more gradual, kind of make this one just a little bit lower as well, that's not as bad as it could be. And I'm pretty sure with a bit of node controller, I can make that work. Okay, so I don't necessarily love this, but it works. And that's kind of all I need it to do right now. People can kind of go in all different directions. It does what it needs to do, and it's good enough. Although I will say I do kind of want to put more pillars in here because it feels like it could sort of use them, and I think that's going to do a little bit of heavy lifting and making this thing look a little bit less terrible. So I think another pillar right there is probably a really good idea. I want to say another pillar for this little bridge right here might be a bit of an idea. So we'll do maybe right about there. We'll do one right over sort of this way as well. So I want to say there, or rather there for another one of those. We can grab both of those and make sure that they are down at the height they need to be. So we'll bring those right down to, oh, they need to be the same height first off. So right to about there, and then we just sink them down until they disappear. I think that's, again, that kind of helps make it feel like there's a bit more support for all of this, because there definitely should be. We'll grab this one again and just put it into, I want to say about here, assuming that that's not going to be on the road underneath, which it's very close to being, isn't it? That's very close. Do we want to maybe rotate this guy around so it's kind of that way? Does that work better? And then maybe moving it back just a little bit could help us out here. So if we just do something like this and sink it down until it disappears, does that look okay? I think it looks a bit weird, but I think we can work with that. I think I can live with that looking a little bit weird is what I can do. Okay, so the next thing I want to do actually does involve the stock exchange. There's actually two things I want to do with this. Thing number one is manage my investments and admittedly sell at a bit of a loss here, because that's just sort of what's happening with that particular investment. I do want to buy into death care because I'd like to try and make some money there. I'm going to buy into generic industry as well in the hopes of making a little bit of money there. And I'm going to buy into to healthcare, because what we need to do is actually make a bunch of money. We have to get a bunch of investment gains to level this thing up. And as we level it up, it looks different. The building grows, and I do want it to get to level 5. So I think we're going to take a chance on generic industry continuing to grow, which it didn't. If it can bounce up quite a bit, that would be nice. But what we can do, no, that's too early to sell. 30,000. That's I'm hoping for more out of the death care service fund. 31,000 from generic industry, 100,000 from death care. We're going to take that right there. We'll take the 52 from generic industry, and from healthcare, I'll take the 15. And so now we have 167,000 in here. That's enough to upgrade this once, which gives us the bronze cow, the bronze panda, and the small bank, which is fantastic. We need about another 90,000-ish to level this thing up again, which again, I would very much like to do. So, oh my God, look how much death care shot up there. That's ridiculous. That's a little ridiculous is what that is. Let's have a look at Greasy Gasoline Incorporated and see how it ends up going. If it drops off a cliff, which it sort of did, I'm not willing to put 3 million into it, but I'll put like 2.4 and see how that turns out. There's 63,000 right there. If that goes up even further, that's going to be fantastic. It didn't. That's fine. Don't worry. This isn't the entire... the entire rest of this episode's not going to be me sitting here looking at this. I just want to see if I can make a decent bit of money. 100,000, I will take that. That is all that I needed to level this up again, which gives us the large bank and the elevated plaza, which is fantastic. I do need this thing to level up further, but for now, this is fine. So what we'll do is move that guy down to there, take out these trees, and I want to start working on a space in here that we can have be the permanent home of the stock exchange. So my thinking is about 8 units there. I think a 135 right there is pretty good. I want to grab those nodes and make sure it's all nice and level. And does this guy fit in here? It does, but I'm kind of feeling it needs to be a little bit further away from those train lines. So let's go 6. And then we'll go a pretty long kind of 135 right there. We'll grab all of those nodes and see how this turns out. If I now move you into this space, we have a little bit of room behind it, which I think is fantastic. And I think I'm sort of okay with that. Now, what we need to do is figure out where exactly. So I want to go here. and do a 45-degree angle to about that spot. And that puts it nice and kind of central in the middle of that road. This road is parallel to this road, which is great. So we can sort of almost go straight through there. I can use anarchy to make that happen, which I'm fine doing. Or am I? That's the real question. Am I fine doing that? We could do the same on that side, I suppose, and kind of give ourselves a little plaza space in front of this, which I'm fine with. We'll bring this over to maybe about there, and we'll sort of just have this all be a bunch of plazas and different buildings and things like that. I think it'll be interesting to say the very least. It's definitely going to be an interesting looking area if I can make it work. Oh man, I really don't want to have to place all of these buildings in all these spaces manually. That's something I kind of like to avoid doing. So I might change this up a little bit and see if I can't maybe come up with a way to do this where I don't have to do everything manually. Cause like the zoning gets weird up here. It's fine that it's, you know, it's going to be at an angle in here. That's all right. But I'd like this to be a little bit neater than we have right here. And you know, I think this right here kind of does the job. This is sort of the rough layout that I'm looking for this space. We're going to put some buildings in here, but a lot of this is going to be plazas and parks and things like that to make it feel a little bit more open than it otherwise is going to be. This building is going to end up being very tall. There's going to be some tall buildings in here as well. So I have some ideas for what we can do in this space. I'm also wondering, do I have access to all of the interesting little buildings in here? We don't have this guy, but honestly, that's probably okay. We don't have the international trade building, which I do want to get my hands on. Do we happen to have? No, we don't have the skyscraper bank either. So that means I need to go back in here. Wait, how much money do I need? I need 750,000. Oh boy. Okay. Let's go for, what do I want to go for here? These guys are kind of way down at the minute, which is tempting. We'll go for this. We'll put 1.8 million in there. That seems like a reasonable investment. Gasoline is down. Death care service is down. Let's do death care service. And then gasoline, I'm not putting all my money into it, but I'll put a lot of it in there. And we'll just see what happens here. We'll see if we can turn up 78,000. It's not bad. It could be better. 172,000. That's kind of more what I'm talking about right there. So I will take that absolutely. Death care is up to 77. That's probably going to drop off. 107. Maybe not. I will take that as well. And then greasy gasoline is probably going to drop. I think it is trending downwards, but if I can make a bit of a profit on this, I'll be relatively happy. I'll take the 39 just to be safe. How much closer has that got me? That was actually pretty good. Okay, we'll come back to that is what we'll do because I do have a couple of things that I can put into this space. I think I'm pretty sure. I don't remember what category it is. There we go. So the bronze cow is one thing that I'd like to put into some of this space. I do need to be able to see zoning in here though. So let's just re-enable zoning on a few of these roads, not all of them, but I do need it on some of them. So let's get zoning on you, and this road over here is a one-way road. So it is going to have zoning actually. It's just this one that doesn't have zoning. Oh wait, and this one in here as well needs to have some zoning. That's going to make my life a little bit easier because now we can do the bronze cow over on this side. We'll do the bronze panda over on this side. And then I can just do some kind of little park thing in here. Some little bit of work with some paths, I think, just to connect through there. We could do a little path sort of over here as well. I think that's kind of a fun little something to do. And if I can just grab some nodes and some paths specifically, I can hopefully move these around so they look a little bit less terrible and not really. not really. Maybe we'll not do that. Maybe we'll not do the one in the middle. Maybe what we do instead is one that sort of goes vaguely that way and that way. Does that look better? It sort of does. I like this sort of grassy space in the middle. Not too sure about, you know, what all of this is going to be, but we can go in, and I do have somewhere. I don't remember what category it's in, but I do have, I think if I turn all of this off, I should have a little 2x2 concrete thing that I can sort of stamp into some of this space. So if I wanted to make this all just a really flat plaza, I absolutely can. I don't know that I want to do that though. I think we should leave some grass visible. And I think a lot of this is just going to be surrounded by bushes, and I'm sort of okay with that. I think a bunch of bushes in here will look pretty good. So what we'll do is use maybe, I think this guy. We'll use the line tool. We'll go down to a spacing of about 2. And here's hoping that I can do something a little bit like this. And yeah, I think that's going to be the right choice. I do. I think just lining this in bushes is going to make it look pretty good. Oh, I kind of love that, actually. I'm really, really pleased with that little space. I think it looks great right in front of our stock exchange. So that's step 1 of making this place feel like it has a little bit of something going on. Step number 2 is going to be getting some large banks in here. And I'm not 100% sure where I want to put these guys, but I sort of like the idea that they would be back this way. And I might have to do a little bit of work. I might have to remove some props from these to just make it work with what we've got going on with the highway. But I think if we do one right there, we can do another one right next to it and another one right there. And then we have the option of going in and changing what these buildings look like. So the little middle one, it could be something kind of like that. And I don't hate that, to be completely honest. I don't know if I love it, but I definitely don't hate it, is my thinking. Now we will go in and use prop it up to try and take some props out of these guys. So the industrial fence, for example, can go away. I think I'm okay with that. We have these dumpsters back here as well that might have to go. We have an industrial gate on the side that kind of needs to go. Do I want rid of the dumpsters? I'm assuming it's these recycling containers. We're going to get rid of those from each of these buildings as well, because unfortunately, I think they just kind of need to go. I think we need to clear out a whole bunch of this space, and well, if we can get rid of that recycling container, that's going to work out. We can probably make some changes to these little highway roads down here. If I could get just a single lane highway with sound barriers, that would be great. Unfortunately, we can't, but we can elevate this road so it kind of looks like it has sound barriers going on. I think that works. I'm not 100% convinced that works, but I think that's probably about as good as we're gonna get. We could maybe, oh no, what have I done? Oh no. This is bad. This is really bad. I spent forever trying to get these roads to work properly, and now I've completely screwed it up. Oh boy. You know, the funny thing is these buildings would actually work pretty well just there, except they kind of block the view of the stock exchange. So I think they just stay where they were. I'm really trying to make this work, and I'm still not convinced it does, but I think this looks okay. If I could move them over by like 1, which again, I might be able to get away with. I'm really trying to squeeze these in here. Does that work? I'm going to have to sort of nudge this road along just a little bit, I think, but I'm relatively sure. I think that's okay. It doesn't look, oh, that looks terrible. It doesn't look great, but I think once we get some trees and stuff in here, it'll be okay. We can kind of hide our crimes a little bit is what we can do. I do like that though. I do. I want those buildings back there. I think that's kind of a good spot for them. We do, I'm pretty sure, have a little small bank that we could play with. I think this should go probably in the other part of Nerdchester, so it's not going to be living in here. We do also have things like the elevated plaza, which could fit in some of these spaces, but I kind of like the idea of it living somewhere next to this this train station. I don't know if I want it right against the train station. I'm kind of thinking that maybe we try and get one of those other buildings in there, either the International Trade Building or the Skyscraper Bank. And so I think we need to get this extra bit of money here. We need more investments. Oh, that's right now. We're going for this. Absolutely. I'm putting all of my money in there. Every bit of it is going into greasy gasoline. I'm about to make I've either made the best decision that I'm going to make here or just objectively the worst one. But I'm hoping there's what I want. That's what I'm looking for right there. That's absolutely perfect. We'll upgrade you again. That gives me the skyscraper bank. There's one more level to go on that thing. But for now, we'll move you down. And then the skyscraper bank. I like that. I do. I like that right next to the train station. I think that looks fantastic. This guy could potentially go right next to it. I do sort of like that as well. I'm kind of wondering if we should do a little section of road down the side there just to sort of separate these guys. And then that park can kind of live on that road. Would that look a little bit better? It's a little bit wider in that direction. I think I'm okay with that. I think the skyscraper having a bit of extra access is not the worst thing in the world as well. So sure, we'll give that a shot. The only thing I want to do is make the road one little bit shorter, because then we can bring a path around this whole thing and connect it to that road, which I think is a really good idea. You know, looking at this, I do think we need some more buildings in here. I don't think we're going to get away with only having these three, this thing, this guy over here. We kind of need something in this space down here, and I'm really not too sure what that should be. Part of me is tempted to just build another skyscraper bank and just have two of them sort of with the park in the middle, but I'm curious to see what my other options would be. We do have this underground plaza, but it's kind of huge. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to go for that. We do have landmarks we could play with. We could throw something like the Gherkin into this space, which is very expensive. But now that I think about it, isn't the Gherkin in London's financial district? I've seen it a few times. I've never been to it. I've never been super close to it, but I'm relatively sure it is in London's financial district. It's a very weird looking building though, and I feel like it should be surrounded by other buildings, and I don't think it's gonna be in this space. We could do a cinema. That would be a choice, is what it would be. We have the London Eye, which would be a choice as well, is what I think that would be. We have a shopping center, which actually, all things considered, might not be the worst pick for this space, because it's not a huge building, and that's something I can kind of deal with. Like a shopping center right there. It's kind of a weird spot for it, but I don't hate that as an idea. I'd be slightly tempted to use move it to rotate it around so it faces this way, and then move it over so it's technically on this road. And I mean, yeah, this is the back of it, but it kind of opens up this space a little bit. And I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm even going to move it just a little. I'm going to rotate it around again. Actually, I just kind of screwed that up is what I did. So rotate you again, move you this way again. We'll move you once again so it's even closer. And while that's not an ideal road for it to be sat on, it does give me space in here that I think I can use for more park space, and I'm kind of okay with that. Let's bring these roads up a little bit. I think this road's going to have to come up as well, which means this road needs to come up, and that's hopefully not going to mess with things too much. It doesn't look like it does. The building itself is already nice and level, which is perfect, and I think this will work. I think this is good. I think that's kind of a good spot for a little shopping center. So let's put some paths around it just so that we have it surrounded with a little bit of pedestrian access, which is always going to be a good thing. So people can walk around there, which I really like. We can have them sort of walk through here and turn that into a little park space as well, which I happen to really like. And I'm probably not going to put parking in here, but we can do a lot of detailing with just parks and stuff like that in here, which I'm really looking forward to doing, actually. I think this area is going to look really, really good. Oh, I really like how this has turned out. It's mostly bushes and mostly trees and mostly paths, but I do really like how this has turned out. And it is also right next to a metro station. It's right next to a bus terminal. This is just really cool, and I'm really, really pleased with it. Although I will say I do kind of want to get a little bit more money out of here because I do want to level this thing up. I do want to get that international banking building, and I think that would be really, really cool to do. So let's see if investing 2.6 million in crypto is going to be a smart decision. 33,000 off the bat is not terrible. 74,000 is even better. I'd like that to go, oh, okay, I was going to say I want that to go to higher, but I don't know if I'm going to get higher than that 74 that we had, which is, oh yeah, there it goes. Oh, of course. Oh, wow. Oh, God. Okay. Well, so we'll go for the 50. We'll take the 50. We'll get out while we're ahead is what we'll do right there. That was a bit rough. Gasoline is on the increase, on the rise right here. I would kind of like it to flatten out a little bit. Generic industry is on the way up, or at least it was, which is fine. Gasoline is sort of floating around quite high right now. I know this is sort of designed for kind of longer term investment than what I'm doing right here, but if I can get all this money out of here nice and quickly, then that works for me. I want to level this thing up. I want to get the one building that I really want, so we're going to hope for the best here. Oh, there we go. We have the 1.5 million. Let's get this thing upgraded, which gives me the international trade building, and the international trade building looks a little something like this, which kind of has me thinking it takes up an entire block. I could put it into this space, which is admittedly going to change our skyline just a little bit, but I think I'm kind of okay with that. I think getting rid of a bunch of these guys might be for the best. We are going to need to go in and grab just all of the nodes around here to get this nice and level. So to that height right there, which ever so slightly messes with things, but I think we can make that work. We'll sort of tidy this up a little bit as well, just to figure that out. And then some of these buildings needs just shifted a little bit so that they actually kind of make sense again, because I've kind of drastically messed with what's going on here. Also, some of the layouts of these buildings are just really not that good looking. Like, this is a bit of a mess down here, and I don't know that I love it. I might have to do something with that. Not right now, but I might have to do something with that. For the time being, though, we'll flatten this out so it's nice and level for the international trade building going in here. And the international trade building itself, I mean, it's a pretty decent looking building. At least it looks like a pretty decent looking building based on what I can see here. How do I want to do this, though? I'm sort of thinking here. I think that's kind of cool. It's a very tall building, and thankfully, it doesn't entirely block the view of the stock exchange, which I'm fine with. I actually do like it right there because it lets me sort of continue this little park thing down this way. And I think that would be a really good idea. I think just going in here really, really simply and doing just some little bushes from like this spot straight across to about there. We'll come straight down to this corner. We'll go straight across to about here as well, and just up something like that. I like that. I like that we're continuing that park space through there. Now, in terms of trees, I think we keep it relatively simple. I think we just do something like this guy. I think we do one down at this end, and then maybe a nice big sort of oak tree in the middle. I do want the big one though, so that one right about there. Oh, that one's even bigger. That's kind of perfect. That's technically 2 trees actually. So let me just let's see if I can just sort of shuffle these around a little bit. That's the one we want rid of. This is the one we want in the middle, and I think I'm sort of okay with this. I think that sort of works. Maybe even a little linden tree just in between those to fill up some of the spaces. I like that a lot. I really do. I really, really like this space. It looks so cool. Oh, I'm so pleased with that. And it's got such good connections. We've got the bus station, the metro, the train just around the corner. I love this. Admittedly, the stock exchange building has always looked a little bit silly, but I kind of love this. I really, really do. So in other news, it might not be surprising at all that my highway connection has done absolutely nothing for traffic at this intersection, which I'm going to be honest, I kind of suspected was going to be the case. I was really hoping that the extra little pedestrian connections would do something for us as well, but apparently, if anything, it's just gotten worse around here, which is really not what I was going for. So I think I'm going to try and get this little subway connection in here. I'm not 100% sure just how far I'm going to go with the subway connection here, but my thinking would be that we try to put a little subway connection on this corner. Although I really like that building. I did really like that building now that I think about it. So let me just, let's just put that back, at least for the time being. I don't know if that was the specific building, but you know what? We'll make both of those historical for now, and that'll be fine. I don't love these buildings quite as much. I'll be honest. I'm not as much a fan of these guys. We could just go here. And I think right there is probably the best spot for it. Now, my thought process here is that what I would like to try and do is line up these, oh man, this is going to be tricky. I want to try to line this, this track. Oh, I really should move that back. I want to try and line it up with this, this bridge is what I want to try and do. So we're going to go elevated for the time being. We're going to bring this guy up to whatever height. And I kind of need it to line up with the subway as well. So that's going to be kind of tricky. We'll bring this to, let's see, turn off snapping for a second. Bring this to here is what we're going to do. And then we'll turn guidelines back on because I kind of want the intersection of these two parts here. So that's our starting point right there, where that's, right there is the, is what I need. So that is perfectly parallel with this bridge. Now, whether or not this is going to work, I really don't know. I'm not entirely convinced that this is going to work. I might have to use an above ground station here, which is something I was kind of hoping to avoid doing, but it might also look kind of interesting to bring some metro down through this space. It is something we could do. We have this elevated metro station with shops. We have this elevated metro station here, which would probably fit better. The only problem is it doesn't really line up with what I was hoping to do, but maybe that is the way we go. Maybe an elevated metro just makes more sense. I really don't know. I really don't know. I mean, does that even line up with the, it doesn't even line up under there, which is also kind of problematic. I kind of need the tracks to line up with the station as well, you know? So this actually doesn't work. Oh man, I'm getting, how am I struggling to figure out how this should work? I know that this is parallel, right? So we know that because this road's parallel to that road, we know that the tracks are going to be parallel. So we'll bring this guy to here, and then we need to bring it to the surface about, say, there is what we'll do. Whether or not this will actually sort of work the way I want it to, not 100% sure, but we'll bring this up at least to, actually, you know what? No, we'll keep that kind of low. And then we're going to bring this out until about that spot. I need to turn collisions off as well because I don't want to get rid of the rocks. We bring that to there. And if we grab all of these nodes, or those two nodes, and make them that height, does that work? Is it going to work having the metro line so much lower than the other bridge, or is that going to look kind of silly? I mean, obviously that looks kind of silly, but having the metro way out there and having this bridge run perfectly parallel to this main road bridge, it could look kind of cool. Okay, yeah, we're gonna be doing this. This just works so much better. So let me go in, I guess, and let me use a bit of a tree brush to take out a bunch of the trees that are inside a bunch of the buildings that we have around here. And I guess somehow, some way, I need to adjust some of these roads. And I'm not 100% sure what that's gonna look like, but these guys can go away. This zoning can go away. I guess this all just comes out of there is what it can do. I guess this entire sort of curved section can kind of go away. So these buildings can go, this building can go. we can bring this sort of straight out to here is what we can do. We can bring this straight through. And then I will have to do a bit of work with the terrain, which I don't necessarily love doing. I mean, I do, but I'm trying to avoid it. We'll bring this out a little something like this. And we're going to be getting a little bit close to the cliff here, but I think we can make that work. We could even, now that I think about it, do a little something where we do have a road that goes down the back of the station. I might make that a pedestrian road, though. That might not be the worst idea in the world, just to sort of control the flow of traffic a little bit, because we are putting an intersection down here, which I don't necessarily love, but I think a little pedestrian road there is kind of okay. And then all we need to do at this point is run at essentially a 45-degree angle like this and connect these guys together, which should be totally doable. So we'll bring this road out. We'll bring this one over. And is that going to be a decent little curve right there if I bring this forwards and we just do something like that? It's not terrible. It could be slightly better. Does that give us a perfect 180? That does. I think I'm okay with that. I do. I think I can work with that. Is what I can do. I'm not sure how I'm going to work with it, but I can work with it. Now, I will say we will have a little bit of trouble in here if I don't make this some kind of pedestrian area, which I think we're going to want to do pretty much right away. I think we want to make sure that people can kind of have their buildings in here and walk around this space and just have it all function. And I can't really be bothered doing this later, so I'm going to just do it now by doing a little something like that right there should be fine. That is Myrtle Avenue, apparently. Which is fine. Decent little name, I suppose. And then we need to get the thing that makes the pedestrian areas work. The thing, what's name, I've already forgotten. It is this guy, the small pedestrian area service point. Now, it does fit quite nicely there, but I think we're going to put it, let's see, if I take out these buildings, can I put the service point right there and then have buildings sort of surround it so it's kind of nicely hidden? I think that's probably not a terrible idea. We'll also have to take out these buildings, unfortunately, to make room for the metro to come through, which is fine, I suppose. I don't love doing this, but we don't really have much of a choice. I could probably do something like that. I could maybe get away with a little something like that. I'm not too sure if those will build, but we'll see what happens. We'll do something like this for that space. Let's make sure that this, if it is a district, it is actually a district. That's fine. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, that's all part of Nerdchester Central. That's actually totally fine. No idea if anything's going to build in this space, but hopefully it does. This also gives us room to bring more metro lines down here at some point if that's something I decide that I want to do. For now, we'll do a little path right there just to fill in the space, and this is all filling in really nicely as well. This guy, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of that building. I would like to grab you, because you're just about perfect for a corner right there. And that looks okay. I think I can work with that. I definitely think I can work with that. Slightly tempted to take zoning off of this road here, because if I do, I can get more zoning in the back there, which might look kind of neat. So since we have a good bit of commercial demand, I don't really know if this should be low density right now, but we're going to do the low density commercial just to sort of fill up the space, because again, I think we kind of can. And you know, I think this will sort of work for the time being. I'm kind of okay with this. I'm not okay with traffic over here though. This is actually really, really bad is what this is. I'm also noticing that traffic doesn't seem to want to enter this intersection, which we can fix. We'll probably not have people cross the road right there either. This is very, very problematic is what this is. It makes sense because we're sort of funneling all the traffic around here in a bunch of different ways. It definitely makes sense. Oh, wow. Yeah, the tailbacks are pretty bad. Hopefully some kind of metro solution here is going to be the right option. Now, we do have to do a little bit of measuring because I'd like to see just how far from the bridge we are with this guy. So if we can turn off sort of the curve thing, we are, what, 14 units, 13 units? It's kind of hard to tell exactly how far we are from this thing. That is what is that? 11, 12, 13. I think 14 is roughly how far we are. So if we can get lined up with this guy, so that's the middle right there. 14 is that spot right there. That's the spot we're looking for. That, yeah, that right there. That's what we want. That is, that is definitely what we want. Let's put this on the ground. And yeah, we're a little bit off is what we are, which is slightly unfortunate. But my thinking, if I can, if I could pull this off. So this is where we need to line up with, and that's going to be tricky. Is what that's going to be. It's going to be very, very tricky. So that spot right there, we'll take this away. We need to somehow, some way get this to work is what we need to do. So this needs to come all the way out, and I just need it to line up with that bridge is what I need it to do. I have no idea if I'm actually going to be able to pull that off. Oh, you know what? This actually kind of looks cool. I like this a lot. I'll admit, I didn't really want the bridge to have a slope to it. It is sort of higher here than it is over here, but it kind of has to have that because that's just how it works. We're also sort of dealing with a bit of a tight bend in here for a train track, but you know what? That's okay. It'll be totally fine is what it'll be. We'll yeah, look, they get around there, no problem. That'll be great. Just, you know, hang on to the hang on to something is all I'm gonna say. Just hang on to something, because it's gonna be it's gonna be rough. Is what it's gonna be. Let's go for the underground train, I think is what we'll go for right there. And then color-wise, I'm pretty sure we just went for like red on all of those. So that should be interesting, is what that should be. It should be very, very interesting. It is a little steep down there, but you know what? We can barely see it, so it's totally fine. And this looks great. Oh my God. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that so much, actually. I really, really do. That's very, very cool. I don't love that there's a dead person waiting for transport, but you know what? I am hoping that this is going to be absolutely wonderful for traffic. We do have buses that go back and forth from this station to the other side of the city. So admittedly, that might take away from the buses, but if it takes away from traffic, then mission accomplished. And with how many people are getting off of these trains down here already, I think we've done a pretty solid job with this. There's a lot of them going to the buses, a lot of them getting into their own cars. I'm sort of okay with either option, and there are just a ton of people waiting in here already to get on the next train going over towards the whatever that district's going to be called. This is really cool. This will hopefully be a really useful bit of infrastructure later down the line. This gives us a connection. Why is my, oh, please tell me the game hasn't crashed. No, we're good. It was auto-saving. That's fine. As long as it hasn't crashed, I can deal with that. We've also got another train coming in here, so I'm really curious to see just how many people happen to get off of this train. Is it gonna be an absolute ton of them, or is it next to no one at all? It is quite a lot of people. Wow. Okay, that's kind of huge. That's really, really good news is what that is. There's a bunch of them going for the buses again. Oh my God, I'm so happy with this. This is so good. This is perfect. So Metro Line 3 is that new metro line, and it is pretty busy. 172 people waiting here, 155 waiting here. The train is actually full as well, which kind of tells me that I maybe want to add another vehicle to this. I think having 2 vehicles in that line, while admittedly the train's not going to be full going back, I think 2 vehicles will be a pretty solid. Oh my God, look how quickly that station is filling up as well. Yeah, that's going to be good. That's going to be a lot of people moving, and it is a lot of people moving. Look how many are down here at the moment. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy, and I kind of love it. Okay, so traffic is pretty bad around City Hall right now, but there are just so many people using the metro to get back and forth. It makes me so happy to see that. There's a lot of people going for the buses as well. And of course, we have the stock exchange just off there in the distance. So while there is still a lot of work to do and a lot of things I still want to build, that is going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.